Welcome to Korea, Greg.
Thank you. Yeah, it's my first time here, so it's I'm still a bit jet lagged, but it's been beautiful. I've had a lot of good food.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question. This is my third year here at Korea Blockchain Week. They do an amazing job putting together great talks, great people, but I remember the food the most. So, what have you discovered? I guess there's actually some Bored Ape restaurant out here, right?
Yeah. Last night we had a little bit of a meetup at Bored and Hungry Seoul, which is amazing. If you haven't, please check it out.
I think some people in the audience have tried it.
Yeah, it's a great cheeseburger. I hear the shrimp burger is actually really good too. Yeah, it's and just the decor, the mural outside the store. It's pretty great.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's like a great example of sort of things that happen that you don't expect when you create some art, right?
Yeah, we're going on a little over 3 years since the birth of Bored Ape Yacht Club and BOIC, and to be halfway around the world at a restaurant that one of our holders created is just incredible.
This is a special conversation for me because Edge of NFT podcast was actually created a week before Bored Apes launched. And I think it's been an incredible journey for us. I'm sure for you, the last 3 years, I think none of us could have predicted the highs and the lows in our industry.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a wild ride for me over these 3 years.
So we'll talk a little bit about that, but one thing that I found interesting is you have a background in publishing, book publishing, and I sort of have thought a lot about the future of media and content creation from different lens, obviously our industry, and then personally being a content creator. And I feel like I heard a quote recently that media is dead, but journalism is alive and well. And I think the point there being, it's all about storytelling, and that companies have to do that, and that individuals have to do that. And there's opportunity with, I think, any sort of NFT collection to tell amazing stories. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are in terms of the evolution of IP in the context of media and its future.
Yeah. My background is in book publishing and poetry. I have a master's in fine arts and poetry, of all things. And my co-founder, Gordon, he's a writer as well. That's actually how we connected. And I think in crypto in particular, messaging is so important. Managing expectations, getting your message out there to your holders is just, you see it in the projects that are most successful. And you also see it in a way where storytelling helps empower communities in a lot of ways. I never would have thought by making monkey JPEGs that all of a sudden you'd have businesses all across the world. Bored and Hungry here, Bored Brewing, a distillery. We've got 400 plus Made by Apes businesses around the world. Some doing some doing multi-million a year in ARR. And I think a lot of it comes down to just stories that people connect with and the opportunity to tell their own.
Absolutely, that's amazing. So we talked about some of the challenges in this space, and Yuga hasn't been immune from that. You made a decision after a hiatus to step into the role of CEO again, which definitely caught a lot of headlines. You've talked already about sort of why you did that. I'm really curious about what it was like getting back into the driver's seat, and sort of what were some of the changes that you made since inheriting that role again.
Yeah. I co-founded Yuga 3.5 years ago, and just stepped back in as CEO about 6 months ago. And really, the only way I know how to run a company is to be extremely hands-on in product all the time. And it was a weird sensation with, after the tremendous success of our first year as a company, we had just felt like there's a bit of imposter syndrome settling in, and felt like we needed to bring in, you know, mommy and daddy to show us how to really run a company. And I think we lost something special in doing that. And really, as I've stepped back in and changing the way that we work, a lot of it comes down to shipping much more quickly, iterating, and I think Yuga, when it's at its best, it functions almost more like a product studio. It's a creative place. It moves fast, and when we don't do that, and we function more in this kind of Web 2 corporate way, it doesn't work for anybody.
To be fair, though, as Yuga has shipped more product, I think there's been more attention, more eyeballs on Yuga than, you know, traditional PFP projects that can get away with, quote, being an experiment and exploring. Do you feel like there's been extra pressure on you and the team that you've had to address in terms of sort of balancing this culture of sort of meeting a broad set of expectations that are sometimes unrealistic, but also sort of shipping product fast?
Yeah. Look, I think in the same way now, I think we talk about meme coins and pumped out fun, and we look at, like, you know, we can see the on-chain data of the million tokens that have come out in a quarter or whatever it is. And
I think sometimes a month now.
A month?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, the numbers have gotten absurd. At the same time, I think we all forget, you know, 3 years ago, it felt like once a week there was 10 new, you know, Bored Ape derivative projects that were launching and raising a bunch of money and piecing out. So I have a lot of respect for the people that are around still building, you know, from that cohort in 2021. And I do think as a founder, you have to have tough skin. It's not for, you know, the weak of heart. You know, luckily I think I do. And the best way to get over, you know, to deal with anything on Twitter or whenever you're down is just to get back and create stuff and ship. So I try not to focus on that side of things.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, people have short-term memories, and I think when you ship something amazing, that's what they're focused on at that point, is that next great win, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, musicians, they have hits, and they have songs that don't land, right? Same thing.
Yeah.
Book publishing, right?
Publishing is always a hits-driven business, and content is, and that's what we're doing here after all, actually, I think, with NFTs.
So I think there were some lessons learned with Project Dragon. It got mixed reviews. I'm curious what you learned from that project and where it's going, and what you've how that's applying to some of the other upcoming projects that we'll talk more about later.
Yeah, so Project Dragon is an other side experience that we launched for the first time 2 months ago, actually a month and a half, I think. It's a mass concurrency kind of team fight shooter, so you're like defending parts of the map. I think we had 1,500 people in one space, which for, you know, a shooter game is impossible for most platforms. But very much it was us building in public, and with the express, we tried to put everybody on notice that, like, we're building this with the same exact tool set that we're making available to our community via the ODK. Right now, it's like a small group of like 5 that's opening up to about 20 over the next little bit here, and with the idea of opening up to more and more as the year goes on. And what I'm proud of is that we had some hiccups on the first one. We did the second event a couple weeks later, and it's just getting better and better, and I'm excited to ship again this month and go away from these long quiet periods to shipping other side every single month alongside our community.
Right on. So I think one reason everyone's here, and I certainly get the target with wearing a hat, Edge of NFT, and Yuga gets it, is reflections on the industry as a whole. And our NFT is dead. That's the headline that's constantly there. Do you feel like we're past the greatest challenges with NFTs, or are there more challenges ahead?
I think there's a huge amount of opportunities ahead. With NFTs, it's the thing that brought normal people on chain outside of the walled gardens of centralized exchanges, really. You know, I can't tell you how many people first installed MetaMask or any wallet, frankly, just so that they could participate in an NFT ecosystem. It's the first time they used it as a token gating like mechanism, a key for merch or events or other things. And instead of just, you know, heading to Coinbase or Binance or somewhere else, you know, and just watching numbers go up and down on a screen, I think over the past 2 years, as you know, we've taken some kicks here in crypto. It's one of the things I miss most, and what I'm most excited about is getting people back on chain, away from sexes, and just having fun.
So what does the future of NFTs look like to you, and is there a geographical shift in the mix there? A lot of it, I think the initial energy stemmed from the United States and sort of broadened from there. And in my travels, I've seen a tremendous amount of passion, interest in NFTs to this present moment in Asia, Korea, whatnot. So, you know, both from a sort of experience perspective, application perspective, and from a geographical perspective, where do you think NFTs go next?
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly been astounded at the reception that we've gotten across the world. We held Ape Fest last year in Hong Kong. We're doing it in 2 months in Lisbon, Portugal. Our European apes have been
another great food city.
Yeah, they've been looking for love out there for a long time, and I'm excited to head back to Lisbon. And you can see it, I think, even in just what holders are building around the world. The Bored and Hungry that we talked about earlier, they actually were featured on Korea's longest running variety show on like Sunday or Monday of this week. That's like airtime that somebody would spend hundreds of thousands of dollars getting, but they're getting reached out to because, you know, they're so fascinated about what that team is doing, and rightfully so. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of energy in Asia for the brand and for NFTs more broadly. And
is it about the art? Is it about applications to gaming? Is it about lower cost NFTs that are more addressable to a broader market, or is it going to continue to be a mix?
I think it's going to be a mix. I think at the end of the day, what you know, we collaborate and partner with some of the biggest brands in the world. We have a Bape collab coming up. We had BMW out at Ape Fest last year, and they're a great team, and we have some stuff coming with them. And what they are so interested in when they experiment and come into Web3, you know, some of these big brands, is the level of community and engagement that they get is like nothing else they get anywhere else. Because once you fill up people's hands and you give them ownership and you engage with them in that way, they return it back to you. And I think BMW's tweet about Ape Fest was like, by an order of several magnitudes, their most engagement they've ever had on a tweet. And for some of these legacy brands, that means a lot. And I think legacy brands or new ones, like, you know, a level of intimacy with media is what NFTs end up offering.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I remember the first NFTLA that we hosted, and all these projects came out and met each other, but in many times they were meeting each other within the community for the first time. And I imagine, you know, the deep bonds that sort of were built digitally, they only get amplified by the physical. And I think it's sort of this cycle of deeper and deeper connections that sort of can continue infinitely, right?
Absolutely. I mean, Ape Fest was a crazy idea we had a couple years ago, and it's my favorite time of the year, getting everybody all over the world together in one place to just have fun and connect. And you recognize people by the ape on their T-shirt more than their face, but you still feel like they're family.
So you're pretty relaxed, but when we talked before about all the things going on, all the projects coming up, I'm impressed. So I need some CEO tips from you in terms of how to keep a chill profile. But let's talk about some of the exciting things going on, because there's a lot happening just in the next few weeks.
Yeah. So actually sharing the news here first. We're going to tweet about it a little later today, but Dookie Dash, our mobile game is coming out next week on September 12th. I think the best mobile games are the right mix of stupid and stupid fun, and Dookie Dash checks that box. And
a little round of applause there. That's really exciting. Congrats.
Yeah, we're super excited that the game's been getting tuned, and we've had kind of little stealth tests around the world, but yeah, excited to kick off the real feature set with the launch next week. We have got $1 million prize pool up for season 1.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, we're stoked. So really, really happy about that. Bape is another collab that we just announced. I'm wearing the shoes that
you guys like the shoes? These are pretty awesome shoes. I have some shoe envy right now.
Yeah, they're the Bape Sharkstas, so the new shoe. That's coming out soon. We've got something special with BMW, something fun coming out with BMW. We've got Ape Fest around the corner. And I think maybe the biggest thing, though, really is Ape Chain coming out in the next few weeks here with Mainnet.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about Other D, too, mainly because I'm a holder, and I didn't get an ape in time. I saw them. It's one of my big regrets in life. But let's talk about Ape Chain first, because I think this is really interesting that this was a community initiative that was sort of created by someone in the community, and it was a proposal that you guys got behind. So maybe you can talk about what's going on there.
Yeah. So the ApeCoin DAO is a really active DAO ecosystem, and they were looking at different Ethereum scaling solutions, and so Optimism, Arbitrum, a few different people came in and made proposals, and the DAO voted for Arbitrum. We didn't vote, we didn't participate, we didn't even give our thoughts on it at the time. But since then, we've actually gotten really deeply engaged with the ecosystem, and are basically a major contributor at this point, and we're really excited for everything that's coming. I mean, Ape Chain is really a bet that dApps at the end of the day are really what matter, and so everything about the chain is designed to facilitate discovery, incentivize creators, and make available, to speak about Otherside a little bit, the tool set that we're building Otherside ourselves with, something like Project Dragon, we're making available to the community through the Otherside development kit, and all that commerce happens on Ape Chain. So the possibility set of the kinds of things people can build between Otherside and Ape Chain, I think, are going to be really spectacular, like really novel experiences that you can't do elsewhere in crypto or NFTs. At the end of the day, metaverses are a lot harder to build than layer 2s, I think. So we've got, I think, a really robust ecosystem between the two.
Absolutely. Congrats on that. That's really exciting. So, yeah, what else is going on with Otherside? I'm going to ask because I have a vested stake in it. We're chatting. So what's going on there?
Yeah, we've got we've got Project Dragon that we're shipping monthly. It's our kind of team fight shooter game on Otherside. We've got 2 islands that we've visited so far, kind of BOIC Island, the Swamp. We've been to Metropolis. The next island we're going to be opening up is the Nexus. It's the birthplace and home of the Kodas on Otherside, so we're excited for that.
So if I hypothetically have a really rare Coda, is there any kind of potential features that I can take advantage of?
Yep, you'll be able to hang out as your really rare, spectacular Coda in the Nexus and play as them in Project Dragon and other experiences, and also get access to some special stuff in the ODK. So we've got that. We've also got a bunch of different mini games that we're working on. We just did a poker event on Otherside. We had a little VIP table. We raised $45,000 for charity, awesome. Which is great. And yeah, I'm excited. At the same, we're kind of focused on environments and getting our avatars and stuff into these new game modes, but also rolling out some new feature sets for social stuff. So poker, we got something special for doing kind of Twitter Spaces on Otherside coming out in the next bit, and yeah, we're just excited.
Wow, a lot going on for sure. Really exciting. It's been such an honor to be here with you at Create Blockchain Week and to learn about everything going on. One last question before we wrap is, what does Yuga Labs look like in 5 years?
I think I said this a little bit earlier. I think Yuga, at its best, resembles like a product studio. And what I mean by that is a small team that's focused on taking the best stuff that we're seeing in crypto, adding our own creative flair to it, and seeing if we can get more people engaged, especially by making, with everything that we do, we're focused on two things: content and tools. And so at the same time we're building other side, we're giving those tools to our community to build alongside us. The same way when we built the club, we decentralized the IP for Bored Apes. And I don't know, I don't have a crystal ball or a magic 8 ball to shake to know exactly what we look like in 5 years, but what I can tell you is I hope that we're the kind of company that's just earnestly engaging with the best ways to bring people on chain.
Right on. Let's give it up to Greg. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.